Hey guys, it's Marisa at KitchenTableStamper.com. I am here to walk you through the November Stamp of the Month Club kit cards. The first thing I'm going to do is this Deck the Halls card. It's colored with Copic Markers. Let's get started. Alright, so I've got the three largest stockings and I put them all on one block. I've got a Muse Studio Sugar cardstock, and this is Memento Rich Cocoa ink. I'm just inking up those three stockings all on one block. I found that's the best way to get all three of them kind of stamped out even. Alright, so alright, there's my little stockings. And I have just a simple handful of colors here. I've got YG 23, 25, R24 and 29, and then a G7, and that's really all I use to color these guys in. The stripes on the striped stocking are R24, and I just color in a few at a time with the R24. You want to kind of work in pieces so that your ink stays wet. And just fill in the whole thing, and then take the R29 and kind of add some shadow to the edge, and that defines the shape of the stocking, gives it kind of a round shape. And then fill in by just blending the R24 and the R29 together. YG23 colored in the whole cuff. And you might notice that I left a little white spot on this one in the center, and that's okay. It's gonna leave the highlight. I'm gonna take just a touch of this G7 on the edge there. Go back with the 25 and soften that G7. And then just kind of soften the whole thing. And there it is. I left the inside just that YG23 color. I did that on purpose. And then I'm going to do the heel and toe the same way with this stocking. And then on the heel and the toe, just a touch of that G7. Don't be afraid of that darkest color. It really adds a lot to the shadows and the actually building in the shape of the stocking. Just use a light hand and add more if you need. You can always add more. It's harder to take it away. I'm just softening the edges with that Y23 or YG23. Okay, so there's that one. And then for the polka dot stocking, I did the YG23 because it's pretty much our lightest color. You want to start with the lightest when you're working in such close quarters, because the darker inks will push the lighter ones back if you go out of the lines at all. And I just filled in all the little dots with the YG23, this lightest color, and I didn't do any shading on this kind of center section of dots. I let this be the lightest area and kind of shaded them in the stocking as a whole, and went down the edge of the stocking with the darker green. And then again, you can use a little bit of this G7, but you want to be really careful with it. I've got just a tiny touch in all these outermost like perimeter here. Then I'll go back with my 23 and kind of, or 25, and kind of soften the 7, the G7. Okay. So I've kind of softened that G7, and then soften the whole thing with the YG23. So it was 25 and now 23. Just softening the blend. And then if you want to, you could do a little touch of YG23 over YG23 to add some dimension to those center dots. Okay, and then I'm going to go back. I'm going to give that a second to dry so that my inks don't unintentionally blend. Then I'll go back and do the reds. For the center stocking, that solid green kind of stocking, I did my YG23 and just, you want to saturate the whole stocking, and you want to work kind of quickly because you're working in a big area here. So you want to get the ink on the paper and get it all saturated, and to just give it's still a solid color, but to give it some dimension, I put a little shadow underneath the cuff and then kind of down the back of the stocking. That's with the YG25. And then in the corner here, the far corner, some of that G7 down and across the bottom here. And then we're going to blend that in with YG25. That's G7, we're blending in with YG25. And same here. We want to give a solid green impression, but the shadowing gives it some dimension. And that's what we're working on here, is just adding some dimension, some shape to this solid green. Okay, and then back to the YG23 and just working in little circles here. I'm going to soften this edge where the 25 meets the 23. And that's really it for the solid one. We'll do the cuff and the toes just like I did on the stripe stocking. And I'll get to that in just a second. I'm just putting some R24 on the inside. And then for the polka dot one, I didn't blend the red at all. I just went for the darker of the two, the R29, and just kind of carefully filled in with a solid and then after I went through and completely filled in between the dots with the R29, then I went back along the edges of the stocking and just deepened that color, so like a one color blending to give it some dimension. Same down this side. And then of course just continue all the way down. Give it some shape. Okay, and then the cuff here we're going to do with the R24. And then R29 and R24. Same with the heel and toe here. Fill it in with the R24. Kind of add a shadow in the bottom there. And then lightly blend out the shadow. There it is, close up. Alright. Copic coloring done. I'll be right back with a second video and we'll assemble this Deck the Halls card. Alright, thanks for watching.